All right, Justin, we are live. Make sure my mic's good. I think we're good. Let people get in here for a second. We are 1 hour later than usual. So the statement or the name of the show, Auburn Sports at noon, is incorrect. Today it is Auburn Sports at 1:02. That's
I'm
where
going
we're.
to change it to Auburn Sports Show at noonish.
Well, when you had the live in there at lunch, sounded cool because we
Yeah.
were pretty much going at lunch. Some people
Well,
eat late.
we'll tweak it. We'll maybe tweak it as maybe we'll change the name or something. But
AU Mechanic is in the um, comments. He's on my how about you list for when we get to that.
and
I'll go
honestly,
ahead.
today's probably my fault. I go to my little girl has lunch at noon, so I didn't know that. It just started school, so I didn't know her schedule. So when we started the show, I didn't know that was going to be noon. So I have lunch with her periodically, and it's at noon. So got to do what you got to do.
We'll forgive you this once, but don't let it happen again.
All right. I appreciate the grace.
Justin Clayton says it's 12 o'clock somewhere. That's true.
Yeah, we're Mountain Time.
Justin, a lot of things to talk about.
What is there? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. If you say so.
I'll say this: it's weirdly quiet on the board. I would call it the quiet before the storm because actually we are about what I would call 2 days away from being in game week.
I mean, we're there. I feel like we're basically we're there.
We're there. And we're there, and I couldn't be more excited about that. I'm gearing up for some high school games. About to go to those. I'm pretty excited. Make sure you're following along with us there. I'll be on the corner on the bunker, breaking those down, giving some live updates. And man, it just feels good to be back to it.
It does.
Obviously, Justin, good work yesterday getting that out on the new 9-time national champion Auburn Tigers.
Man,
What are your thoughts on that? I'm
what
curious.
a day, dude. What a day. I don't know that I've had a day with as much reaction. I mean, that thing was my post, it's over 2 million views. And that's my post. The On3 social media, they obviously made a post and cited and linked our story. That's over 4 million views. It was the talk of the college football world yesterday. I mean, it was like
still is today. Still is today.
even into today. I mean, it was a lot of talk about people that had a comment about Auburn, but then I saw a bunch of discussion about it. Bled off into a lot of discussion about people going, who are other great teams that could claim one, or like it branched off into a bigger discussion in a lot of ways. But woo, boy, if you were not an Auburn fan, you were in some kind of shambles yesterday. I mean, the replies and the quotes in my timeline were crazy. And if you're an Auburn fan, you had a good day. You were just enjoying it. My take, and I went on a couple of radio shows and stuff and talked about it, but and I'll say the same thing that I said there, which is number one, Auburn people know this, people outside don't. This has been a discussion in the Auburn community and within Auburn's administration for well over a decade. Well over a decade. I mean, this goes back to when Jay Jacobs was here, and there was a committee put in place to look at some of these years, and they actually recommended to him to claim some of these. But I think there was some pushback at the time from boosters and big money people that had Jay Jacobs' ear that at the time thought, this is going to look foolish. Don't do this. Like, let's just. And I think a lot of it is tied to Alabama, because Alabama claimed a couple that are dubious at best. So I kind of think a part of it in the past was some people going, let's not be like Alabama. Let's just claim the AP, so there was a little bit of that going on back then. And so this should have been done a long time ago, but it wasn't. And so I think that's certainly probably what prompted a lot of the discussion, really, is the fact that Alabama did it, and that's your rival. And for years and for decades, you knew that in one year they had 6, and then the next year they updated the media guide and it was whatever 12. And I think since then it's just sort of festered. But anyway, I think that's played a part. But I don't know, credit John Cohen for just going, you know what? Like, let's just do it. I don't have an issue with it, mainly because I looked at the seasons and looked at the data and looked at their record and looked at it objectively. And you look at an independent selector that named them a national champion and you go, why don't they have a claim? If I were a rival fan, my response to this wouldn't be, I hate you, Auburn. My response would be, well, okay, what should we go claim some? That would be my response. Instead of, Auburn didn't take any titles from anybody. They just claimed titles that they thought they had a legitimate claim on based on those teams. So it's kind of funny, the reaction. You would think they took titles away from people. They didn't. And I'm all for other programs doing the exact same thing. If you have an undefeated season, undefeated in your conference, won your conference, outscored people 224-10. And you had an independent selector that crowned you a national champion back in the day where it was just completely subjective, absolutely no uniformity over the decades, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, no uniformity to national champions, man. It was all over the place. Claim it. And that's what Auburn did. 3 of the 4 brand new ones they claimed, they went undefeated. I think a lot of people took issue with 2004. USC won it. They had to vacate it. It's kind of just sitting out there. But again, Auburn had an independent selector that named them national champs. They beat more ranked teams than USC. They beat more ranked teams than OU. Anyway, we could go through them all. I think if you had a legitimate claim, if you can back it up with something, you look at the season and go, that's a national title worthy season, and an independent selector named you a national championship, and it's in the days where everything was just wild and open anyway, claim it, man. So I just don't have an issue with what they did. And I guess we're speaking to most Auburn fans, but I saw the narrative out there, and for Auburn fans, you can kind of pass this on. I saw the narrative out there that Auburn released this. Why would Auburn announce this a week before the Baylor game? Auburn did not announce this. There was no press release. There was no video. Auburn didn't announce anything. I reported it. Jason Caldwell reported it. That's what happened. And it got reported because we knew that the signage was going to start going up inside the stadium yesterday. So I reached out and got a comment from John Cohen that reflected why they did what they did. But just to kind of clear that up, because I've seen a lot of people going, well, it's a week before the game. Why is Auburn announcing this or rolling this out? They didn't do anything. I mean, they just changed their Twitter bio. So it wasn't we kind of reported it. So anyway, those are kind of some of my thoughts. I don't really have an issue with it. I enjoyed the reaction. Had a little fun with it. Tweeted out that I enjoyed watching the 9-time national champion Auburn Tigers practice yesterday morning.
I mean, we did do that.
Yeah. And so embrace it. I don't know. What were your thoughts on it? Do you have any big qualm? Was there even as a guy who grew up liking Auburn, was there any season that they claimed that you're like, or did you think objectively, I don't have a problem with their argument here?
No, I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, I don't have a huge opinion on it, I don't think, because I don't know, a lot about some of those older teams. It's good if the NCAA recognizes it, if it's recognized, good, claim it. I'm with you on that. The 2004 team, I like that one. I'm happy to see that one claimed because I've always, every Auburn fan knows that lived through that. I was young, obviously, but come on, man, that was ridiculous how that played out. You were pretty relevant in it at the time, Justin. Is the 2004 one important to you? That one feels pretty important.
I think it is because you also got to look at the context of that. First of all, the 2004 team, again, they had an independent selector that named him national champion. Even I'd have to go back and look. I think that happened That might have happened after USC vacated. It might have been USC vacated, and then maybe there was a retroactive claiming by an independent selector. I don't remember the timing of it. But you have an undefeated team that won. Auburn had more ranked wins than OU and USC, more top 10 wins than OU and USC. I don't care about overall strength of schedule. Like, they had more ranked wins and more top 10 wins. And what's also funny, they had 4 first-round picks, whatever. What's funny about that season also for Auburn fans that I think was so tough to swallow is right after Auburn won that title, the SEC completely dominated the next decade and is still really dominating with Ohio State or Michigan mixed in. Auburn was like the last team, certainly in the BCS era, but Auburn was the last team from the SEC to not get the benefit of the doubt. Like, Texas won it in 05, right? But then you had Florida, LSU, Alabama, or who won it in 08? Florida, LSU, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama. Like, you had this run up until Auburn, Florida State, where it was nothing but SEC national championship teams. And every year, the SEC was looked at as the best conference, and they got the benefit of the doubt. And it's like, for some reason in 2004, that didn't happen for Auburn. Like, in this day and age, you almost would be like, I think Auburn's going to get the benefit of the doubt here, but it was a BCS system, and so it wasn't guys voting in a playoff committee and things like that. So that, I get that one. I get people going, hold up, you didn't even get in the championship game, but the circumstances are what they are. USC got caught for cheating. They had to vacate the title. So it's wide open. And if it's wide open, I don't even care if OU claims it. OU lost to a team that was playing an ineligible player under the rules at the time. So would I have an issue if OU said, given that you guys shouldn't have maybe even been in the game, or you broke the rules, and so even though we lost, you broke the rules, we're going to claim? I wouldn't care about that. I mean, to me, I'd be like, I hear you. I hear you on that. I mean, claim it. I don't have an issue.
This just takes me right back to why I just love the playoff system so much more. I would love to be on the poster for it. If they would allow me to do that, I would be the person. I will represent this for you. I will go to battle for you for the playoff system, because I would have put that 2004 Auburn team. I would have pitted against anybody, and I feel good about them winning. A couple people mentioned it too. The '83 team, I'm really happy about that one. Which, if you didn't know, they had already kind of claimed it a little bit. In fact, the team has gotten rings in the past couple of years. So good that they get the public recognition on that, because they deserve it on that one too. I have some knowledge of that team for sure. Other than that, though, Justin, I don't have like a huge opinion on it. It's good. I'm good with it. Certainly don't have a problem with it. Put it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, so yeah, 04, I kind of get that one, but again, that team went undefeated, had the number 1 scoring defense in the country, 2004.
Yeah.
And won more ranked and beat more ranked teams and more top 10 teams than USC or Oklahoma. So you look at it and go, they had every right to be in the game in the first place. Fine, they weren't. But when USC has to vacate it and you leave it wide open, at that point, to me, you go, okay, well, you shouldn't have even been eligible. So it should have been OU and Auburn, and we didn't get to see it. I just don't have an issue. A lot of people brought up 93. Again, what's funny about that one is, first of all, only undefeated team in college football. And you go, well, but they were on probation. Well, so Auburn doesn't claim an SEC title, by the way, because they didn't get to play the SEC championship that year. But think about what we just saw. We just saw a Michigan program cheat and get caught for cheating. But the coach is gone. The people involved are gone. So what did the NCAA do? They fined them. But guess what? Michigan gets to play in the postseason this year. So again, you go back to how the NCAA sort of picks and chooses how they punish. Well, go back to that year. Well, what if they would have applied this logic then and said, you guys cheated. It was Pat Dye. Pat Dye's gone now. This is a new coach. We're going to fine you, 1993 Auburn, but we're not going to hold you out of the postseason because you players in 93, y'all didn't cheat. The prior guys broke the rules and they're not here anymore. Terry Bowden didn't do it. He wasn't here. So that's more just to the point of how everything has been so subjective. Like that team, if you apply like what they just did to Michigan, you would go, that team should have played in the postseason because the staff that broke the rules wasn't there anymore. Why is that team getting penalized for something the previous staff did? You just saw that with Michigan. So like I could make that argument and go, we're just sort of picking and choosing what we do as the NCAA, what to punish, what not to punish. So I don't love the argument of like, well, that team was on probation. Well, maybe they shouldn't have been. Maybe that was NCAA not being consistent in what they do. And again, independent selector named him a national champion, only undefeated team in college football. I don't have a problem with it. 83, 3 great teams. I don't have a problem with it. So I'm good with it. I know Auburn fans have wanted it for a long time. Certainly like 04, certainly some of those years. And I respect John Cohen, and in the quote that was in the story, I respect him kind of his approach, which was for too long, Auburn's had this humble approach of, well, let's only claim AP. Let's not be the school that kind of, sort of claims let's just stick to AP. And I get it, man. This day and age, like it's been long enough to go back and do it. You think about how you market your program now with NIL and trying to get players. That stuff matters. If you can go back and legitimately make an argument for a championship 110 years ago and you think it's legit, do it, man. Add it to your branding. But there's got to be something there. Like a lot of people were like, we'll just claim everything. Well, no, that's not what you didn't read the story, number one. And you didn't look at all of what they claimed and what those teams did. If your response was like, well, we'll just claim whatever. Well, that's not what Auburn didn't go find a season where they were 7-2 and finished 8th in the polls and nobody named them national champion. But Auburn was like, well, but that team was pretty good. Let's just claim it. Like that's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at all. The seasons Auburn claimed were championship worthy, and there was an independent selector tied to those seasons naming them national champion. And so that's why they claimed it. So I enjoy it. The reaction's been awesome. What'll be interesting to me is it respected? So when we get on TV this year, or we're watching, not we Auburn, when we're watching a game on TV, if it's Auburn, does the media, TV, if it's a graphic, if it's whatever it is, right? Do you see national, like if you see a graphic that has national titles or anything like that, will it be respected and taken in? I think it will. I hope it will, because Auburn is saying, I mean, it's no different than what Alabama did. Alabama just did it before social media. And so there was no reaction. They just snuck it in the media guide from one summer to the next, and there was zero reaction, but it's no different. So I think it'll be respected.
When you say respected, do you mean they'll have a graphic, they'll call Auburn 9-time national champions, they'll be cool about it, or the announcers will have a little moment where they go, now this is what happened during the offseason in case you missed it. Now, I don't know, how do you feel about that?
You might have that, just because I do feel like certainly TV broadcasts have become a little bit more conversational and sort of joking going on. So I could see the Baylor game. I could see the Fox guy go, I could see maybe it comes up and he kind of makes a little quip like, well, that just kind of happened out of nowhere, something like that. But I'm talking about, like, if you think about, I don't know, whatever, just will they put up 9, or will they go, we're just going to continue to call you 2? I think that if the school claims it and they say we have 9, I think that's what will be respected and shown. And listen, 20 years from now, nobody will remember this. It'll be Auburn football has won 9 national champions. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll remember like this moment 20 years ago. But just like right now, a whole group of people right now have no clue what Alabama did in like 83, 84 with the media guide. They have no knowledge of it whatsoever. This is the first time they're ever hearing that story about one summer their media guy says 6 national titles. The next summer their media guy says like 11. Nobody's ever heard that story until like today. And so it'll be like that 20 years from now with fans go, Auburn did what? When in 2025? What happened? So it is what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, as big as this is and it's important and it's a big deal, people will forget about it in about a week and a couple more days because toe meets leather when Auburn takes on Baylor. If anybody has any questions about this or anything going on in practice, we can use the rest of this show, about maybe 30, 35, 40 minutes talking about that or whatever else you want to talk about, Justin. Um, I personally, I've started to get asked about, do you want to hold off?
I lost you. You cut out. What'd you say?
I said, I'm already getting asked a lot about Baylor score predictions.
Oh,
Do you want to get into that, or do you want to hold off on that for a while?
let's hold off because we're going to do, we'll do more shows before the game, and so let's hold off on score predictions. Although I did pop on the board Saturday. What did I do? Saturday morning, and I said, is anybody else getting the feeling that Auburn could actually go in here and win this game by 10 plus? And I tossed out 31-20. So like I kind of hinted at that. So if you asked me right this second, I'm in that ballpark. I maybe I'm 31-24, but or maybe it's 27-20. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm kind of Auburn by a touchdown, a feeling. But man, that's a dangerous feeling just because Auburn's got the talent. We know that. But they haven't really done it. I mean, that's the biggest hurdle with this team. The biggest hurdle to me is becoming a team that has the mentality of a championship team, meaning for 60 minutes, you play championship football. You don't make dumb mistakes. You don't commit turnovers. You don't mess up critical downs. I mean, that's the difference. Like you're a dog for 60 minutes. You're a team that when people want to play you, they're like, shoot, these guys are like, they just do things the right way and they're physical. Like that's my thing. I think this team's talented, but nobody on this team has been a part of a team that's like, I thought about the other day, when's the last time, Cole, you walked away from a game and said, Auburn imposed their will on a good football team? Like you played a good football team and Auburn walked away. I know mine, but I want to hear is like, when's the last time you were like, that wasn't a bad team that Auburn just played? And Auburn absolutely handled their business.
Oh man, I guess I mean the first one that comes to mind is beating Georgia in 2017, beating Alabama in 2017, which was a closer game, but they did kind of take care of business in that one. Is there anything in there's nothing in 2018, nothing in 2020. Is there anything in 2019? I mean, they went to the wire with Alabama. Almost beat LSU and Joe Burrow that year. Oh, man, was there any game that year that they just killed somebody? I don't think so. Let's see.
See, I went back, and the one that came to mind for me was, I'm trying to just double check the score here. The one that came to mind to me was 2020 LSU. That was the COVID year.
That's right.
Auburn hosted them. Now LSU went 5-5 that year. That was the COVID, but it was the COVID year. So 5-5 all SEC games. LSU wasn't bad that year, but Auburn beat them 48-11.
TJ Finley was that quarterback. I remember that now.
No, Bo Nix. That was Bo Nix.
No. TJ Finley was that quarterback for LSU in that game.
Oh yeah. That's the last time I remember. And Zach mentions, you only have the two ranked wins. You have Harsin beating Ole Miss in 21, and you have Freeze beating A&M last year. That's the only ranked wins in the last 4 years, by the way. But those don't even necessarily come to mind. Certainly not A&M last year. You won, but A&M dominated the second half of that game. You held on for dear life, and then you made plays.
Huh? You almost ran them out of there, and then they almost came back on you.
Jumped all over them. Then they came storming back. You won it. I'm not saying it was a really great win.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Ole Miss 31-20 kind of. That was a really close game. But I'm talking about where you know what I'm saying. Like you walked out going Auburn was in control the whole game. And I went back to 2020, that LSU game, because they weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad. And Auburn 48-11. Is an absolute beatdown. But it's just
it was.
It's just been a long time since you were like, anyway, back to the point. That's what worries me a little bit when I go, could Auburn go in here and win this game by 10? It's been so long that they played a quality top 30 football team and just from start to finish did their thing, took care of business, didn't jump out and then let the other team come back and or anything like that. Like they just took care of business. And so that's what this team has to learn. That's what this team has to, and there's no way to do it other than to do it. There's talent, but there's just no other way to do it other than to just go do it. And then you go, okay, that's what it takes. That's what it takes for 60 minutes. Incredible focus, confidence, execution, coaching. Like that's what it takes. That's kind of, that would hold me back from saying Auburn goes in there and actually wins this game by 10.
Well, I think one of the things that just makes me angry about this and makes me it feels like this week and 2 days is going to be an eternity still, because this has been the longest off season of it's been unbelievable how long this off season has dragged on for me. Maybe it's different for you. For me, it's dragged and it won't stop. And like a week and 2 days is just too long. I need that to get here so we can have some answers, because I'm so sick of looking at this roster and knowing the roster matches up with your 2019 Auburn team, your 2017 Auburn team, probably. I think it's in the same realm with those talent-wise, younger, but talent-wise. And it's the coaching you worry about. I'm not calling anybody out. It's just we watch bad football with, now you have a roster that matches what it needs to be, at least. It's getting there. I think it's really close to being up there with the best rosters in the SEC. And I'm still worried about that part of it. I'm ready to not be worried about that part anymore.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that to be over. And it can be. It can be in a week and 2 days. They can really, because the whole pitch that we've been hearing from Freeze is once I get my roster the way, and he's not saying it exactly like I'm about to say it, but once we get our roster up to par, you're going to see a much better product. I just think we've arrived. We've arrived to that. If this, I don't want to keep saying the same thing 100 different ways, but I'm ready to see that. And I don't have a lot of patience on it anymore, unfortunately. I hate that because I like to be patient and I like to give coaches a chance. But I really like this roster.
Yeah, I think the roster's there. I was thinking about this and I'm like, does Auburn have a top 40 that looks like Texas, Bama, Georgia, LSU? No. And I don't know. OU's really good. I haven't studied their roster. They're good, but I don't know if there's talent there. But I would probably say Texas, Bama, Georgia, LSU, maybe A&M you could toss in there, but those teams I would be like they're top 40. Is Auburn's top 40 where those programs are? No. Is Auburn's top 15 where those are? Not far off.
I think they are.
So it's like that. I think so. That's what I think. Auburn's roster is good enough to beat anybody in college football right now. They are. Do they have the depth they want? Not quite. Could an injury derail that? Yeah. Would you love a little bit more depth? Yes. But like on any given Saturday, Auburn's got enough talent in those top 15-ish players, whether it's Jay Crawford or Kayan Lee or Keldrick Falk or Cam Coleman or Eric Singleton, or Connor Liu or Xavier Chaplin. Like there's enough talent there to get the job done. Just without the depth, it's hard to do it every week, and you can't overcome some errors or mistakes sometimes if your margin for error is smaller. But the roster's there. And I go back to the schedule. Like I always talk to the schedule too. Like you got to take advantage of this schedule this year. No Texas, no Tennessee, no Florida, no Ole Miss, no LSU. Man, it is manageable, man. It's like the 10th or 11th. I mean, four of the 8 SEC teams you play are ranked right now from like 11 to 16 in the league. I just got to take advantage, man.
This is a perfect segue because I'm going to ask you something about the schedule. But, I mean, what does it tell you that Auburn fans – I didn't sense a complete panic when it looked like Malcolm Simmons was going to be out. I sensed that sucks. But I think the receiver room's still okay. I think the offense is still okay. That guy's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That would have hurt, but at the same time, you lose a guy like that if you were going to. You still look at it and go, okay, they could still be good. They still have enough years. The last 5 years in Auburn football, losing a guy like that would have been detrimental. But the segue I'm talking about, so I ranked the games on the schedule. I'm just curious to see if you agree with my ranking. Can I run through that with you real quick?
Yeah. Let's just do it. Happy birthday, Hoke. That's so great, Jackson Roberts.
It's not your
Appreciate
birthday,
it.
right?
Not my birthday. My birthday's in January.
Okay, all right.
But Chris Marler, who runs at Vernquist on Twitter, who's an Alabama guy, but he's funny. He's harmless. He loves to do this thing once or twice a year and say, happy birthday. And he tags me, and the people are like, happy birthday. And I'm like, you suck, dude. So I literally had text this morning, happy belated birthday. I'm like, not my birthday. But
you know what? I appreciate harmless pranks. I appreciate them.
Yeah. It's funny. All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so I can read it off to you, or I can share my screen. Would you like to look at it?
Yeah. Share your screen for sure. Well, let everybody see. If you haven't gone to Auburn Sports, go check out your.
Yes.
Go look at your rankings of the game of the team.
You're gonna get it. It's a premium story. It's for members only. But hey, we'll share it here.
All right, it's been a few days.
Make sure you join. You get stuff like this all the time. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You know the whole thing. Okay. So sharing my screen. I think that's working. You got that, Zach? There it is. All right. So starting with number 12 here, I've got Auburn versus Mercer. We can run through these pretty quick because,
yeah.
Auburn, Mercer, Auburn, Ball State, South Alabama. Any problems with those three?
No.
Last three. Would you rearrange those at all?
I don't even know. I don't even know anything about them. But no, I'd probably have South Alabama as the toughest of those. Sure.
Okay. First SEC game, Kentucky. Number 9. I got.
I'm fine with that. Yep.
I just don't think they're going to be great, and it's at home.
That's part of my win that job, by the way.
That's my criteria here, by the way. I'm not just ranking the best teams on Auburn's schedule. I'm ranking the timing of the game, where the game's being played. Is this in a weird spot on the schedule? That kind of thing. Number 8, Auburn at Arkansas. You might have to see the rest of it.
I'm probably fine that. Well, I'm trying to remember where
the next
one.
Because these two were close for me. So Auburn, Missouri at number 7 at home. And I had Auburn at Arkansas as being an easier game than hosting Missouri at home. Do you agree with this?
I may switch to Arkansas and Missouri. I mean, Missouri, I think, is a better program right now, but road game, Taylor Green, and Arkansas went to a bowl last year. They did make it to 6-6. I would probably lean flipping those. You also Arkansas. I don't know, Missouri. You're 2 weeks at home, so you play Georgia at home, and then you get Missouri at home. So Missouri, you've now been at home for 2 weeks. So I may flip those. Arkansas, that's a dangerous one, man. Just Taylor Green.
My line of thinking was Missouri comes after your toughest stretch on the schedule, which is at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, and then Georgia at home, and then you get Missouri after all that. I was putting a lot of stock into that, and then I just don't think Arkansas is going to be great.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. You never know. They could surprise you. They did beat Tennessee last year. I think Taylor Green's pretty good. They beat Auburn last year.
Taylor Green. Well, yeah, and you do have a bye before Georgia, so Auburn gets a bye and it gets to play 2 home games. A little bit of a rest there, but yeah, I mean Missouri's probably a better team. They're certainly a better team. They're ranked like they're thought of as a better team, but on the road, and Taylor Green, like you just with that kind of quarterback, man, that's just like a dicey game. I mean,
right.
But yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then number 6 had a long explanation on this. Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt.
What's 5 for you?
Does it change? Number 5 is at Baylor.
Oh, okay, so we get into the Vanderbilt. So I'm fine with where you have Vanderbilt.
Does it change anything at all that is at Vanderbilt? Does that change anything?
I mean, I would say no. Auburn won at Vanderbilt 2 years ago, lost at home last year. So, I mean,
Yes, but that Vanderbilt team did not have Diego Pavia, nor did it have Jerry
yeah.
Kill.
And Auburn controlled that game. Like Auburn should have won that game a lot more than they did. That first year.
Okay, that's one. Honestly, if back to your question, Auburn kind of handled that game, but it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Vandy had a pick six that thing should have been like a 40-14 win. But your placement's fine. I think based on where you had Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Vanderbilt is of those four at Vandy. I mean, that's probably the tougher. Missouri might be the best team of those four, but that's at home. Vanderbilt obviously is really well coached, and Diego Pavia comes back, and so that's on the road, and so I'm fine with having them in that spot.
I fully expected to get flamed on that just because people see the name Vanderbilt and they go, "It's Vanderbilt."
Man, they need to get past that right now.
I'm telling you, this is a dangerous football team.
You gotta, if you're not past that after last year, I don't know what you're watching. I mean, they beat Alabama. They lose to Texas by a touchdown. I feel like that game's forgotten a little bit for Vandy. Beat Alabama, yeah. They also hosted Texas and lost by a touchdown.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's not like they only fluked up one time and beat Bama. They were competitive against Texas, and then they beat Auburn. But man, when you go back and look at that game, Auburn's defense played really well. Pavia didn't win that. Like they had a really good drive at the end to seal it, but Auburn's offense was horrific.
See, a lot of times with Pavia, you were about to say he didn't win that game. That is true. But you know what he didn't do too? He didn't lose the game. That's what makes them tough. He's not going to screw up a lot, right? He threw 4 interceptions on the season last year. That's it.
Not many.
And
they had a drive when it mattered. It was really disappointing. I think it was 10-9. But then like Auburn played really good defense, but then they just couldn't get off the field at the end of the game when they needed to. But yeah, I'm fine with your placement there.
See, that's exactly I would just love if that's what Jackson Arnold brings to Auburn, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not be the reason Auburn wins the game. Maybe you didn't make a play you needed to, whatever. But please don't be the reason Auburn loses the game. You can't have that. You just can't. With everything you got, with all the supporting staff, supporting cast around you, just don't. I mean, it's not as simple as don't screw up, but if you at least have that baseline, you know what I mean? You're getting somewhere. By the way, Vanderbilt did beat Virginia Tech as well.
All right, and then you get into the make or breaks. They're all make or breaks, but now we get into like.
All right, so here's number 4 and number 5. I got the Baylor game at number 5, and honestly, I think I don't know. Do you think any of Vanderbilt, Missouri, Arkansas, or Kentucky are better football team than Baylor?
Hard to say now. I mean, if you kind of look at, Baylor, Auburn, Missouri are all sort of ranked in that 30-ish, give or take 5 spots range. So I don't think so. I mean, I would give Baylor an edge over those teams. But like if Baylor played Vandy on a neutral field or played Missouri on a neutral field, Baylor could lose the game. But I would say top to bottom, let's give a slight edge to Baylor as an overall football team.
These two right here, the Baylor game and the Oklahoma game, were very, very. I sat here and looked at these for a while before I decided the placement of these two.
Uh-huh.
I could make a case for the Baylor game being more difficult than the Oklahoma game. Do you think I have them right here?
Yes, because I think Oklahoma's a much, and I'll say much. Like, to me, Oklahoma's clearly a better team than Baylor. I think Oklahoma's roster is better. And if John Mateer is what we think he could be with Ben Arbuckle that came over, that team, Oklahoma is everybody's pick to be a sleeper for a reason because the pieces are there and they've got a quarterback that could be really, really dynamic. Like, so, and Baylor's got a good quarterback too, but I think Oklahoma is a better football team. So yes, I think that's correct. And there's similar deals, right? Baylor's first game. So you're coming off, there's no game before Baylor, and OU's coming after 2 cupcakes. So you're going into both of those having extended prep. Let's be real. extended prep and maybe some freshness, and that starters don't have to play quite as many snaps, that kind of thing. So I'm fine with those.
I think one of the big things that separated these two, or at least I gave is Auburn some credit. They will have played a tough road game at Baylor before they meet Oklahoma. This is not their first road game; it's their second. So I looked at that part of it too, but I feel good about that. Seems like you do too. It's just you got to get over that Baylor hump. It seems like, man, it's looming, this game, and you just got to losing it would just be awful. But
yeah, I just, again, like, we don't have to harp on it. I don't think losing Baylor will be awful. What will be awful is if you lose it, and then depends on what happens after. The same thing, by the way, if you win it. If you win it, it doesn't mean finally everything's great. Because if you go lose to OU, A&M, and Georgia, nope, Baylor will be a distant memory at that point. So it's like, the first 6 games, it just depends. Like, it's like, if you beat Baylor, great start, great foundational piece to get you to where you want to go, but does not mean anything for those first few SEC games. And if you lose it, doesn't mean. Now, if they go get blown out, okay, that's a different conversation. If they go get beat by 17 at Baylor, sound the alarm. Like,
yeah,
but bad. Let's say that's a competitive loss, then that doesn't mean they can't go upset OU or A&M. So
true. All right, so top 3. And this is where it gets a little bit controversial, because I just thought there will be 3 threads about me on BOL for sure with this one. But I got this one at number 3, the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
A couple of reasons why I think these 2 games are harder. Texas A&M at Texas A&M is number 2 for me, and then at home versus Georgia is number 1. So there's your top 3.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like those 3 would be the most debatable for everybody. A lot of people probably think Alabama should be number 2. I wouldn't argue it, but the reason why I have them number 3 this game, lesser Auburn teams have given Alabama all kinds of problems in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Much lesser Auburn teams than the one I'm looking at right now. That's it. I think that's it. How do you explain that? How do you explain these lesser rosters at Auburn in 2023 and 2021 under Brian Harsin taking Alabama down to the wire in overtime games?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, Auburn, certainly the last 2 times Alabama's walked into Jordan-Hare, Auburn should have won those football games. Given how it played out, like, Auburn wasn't the better team, but given where it was with a few minutes left in the game, Auburn should have won. Georgia, they played Georgia competitive Freeze's first year, but that's been a little bit harder to come by. Like, Georgia's just kind of owned that one, where Auburn's popped up and still beaten them.
My entire reasoning for Georgia being number 1 is that there is a complete mental block with that game for Auburn that they have got to find a way to get over.
Yeah, and you look at, like, what? Let's see. I mean, you've got a non-conference game before Bama, so then you think about, okay, I mean, you've got that prep. Now, Bama, I think Bama probably does too. Generally, that's how that works. I haven't looked at their schedule, but so you got to think you're coming in there a little bit fresher. Georgia, man, I agree, Georgia, because you're going to OU, A&M. Now, you do get a week off, but you go OU and A&M. The Georgia game is going to have a ton of pressure. It just is, like, no matter what happens.
Yeah, even if you're undefeated going into that, it's still,
that'll be tons of pressure too. Like, to finally get off, get the monkey off the back and beat them. And then certainly if you're 0-2 in the league, the pressure on that game will be massive. So I kind of do think I'm fine with putting that 1. Georgia and Alabama are. Who do you think is going to have the better season, Georgia or Alabama?
I default to Georgia just because I just do. I know what Kirby Smart's about. We're still learning about DeBoer. I think he's good, but we're still learning about him and what he's going to do with that team. So I default to Georgia. That doesn't mean Alabama can't. Don't get me wrong. and they're just so stacked. Both of those teams are, especially on defense. Their offenses, that's the thing. Both of these teams' offenses are very questionable. You just don't know where they're going to be. Ty Simpson in Alabama, Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, totally different than what they had a year ago.
Like, I would almost lean, yeah. Like, I almost want to lean making A&M or OU, but let's say I would almost lean to flipping A&M in Georgia, only because Georgia's the better team. But I just
was going to say,
got to give some credibility to Auburn being at home versus the road. I mean,
what about it being
by no means is that saying Georgia's better than A&M. It's just the difference in road and home. Like, and A&M's 1 week after. You're going to go all the way out to Norman, come back, go all the way back out to College Station. That's a second road game in a row. Pretty good little road trip. And versus Georgia week off coming home. Georgia's a better team, but like that A&M game, I feel like is going to be just a war to try to win.
Yeah, I was going to say I hate this game for Auburn. I hate the placement of it. I think Texas A&M is good. I think they're going to be improved. I think they got a great coach, good quarterback, all of that. I hate the way this one falls. I just don't like it. That's why I put it above the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl, you know how that is. It is what it's always going to be tough. I don't care. It's tough to beat Alabama if you're Auburn. It just is. It never comes easy, no matter what's going on, at least in my lifetime. So, but you get them at home. That's a lot of what I'm thinking here. And you can even make a case for Auburn, Georgia, being it's a night game, maybe the different feel. Maybe Auburn will have momentum going. We just don't know that part yet. So just looking at it from how we're looking at it today, that's how I've got it. But this one is the one to me that bothers me a lot when looking at the schedule.
And I'm fine having Georgia 1. You could have Bama 1. Like, I mean, I'm by no means I could go back and forth. I think on the road, it's just really, really hard to win on the road in the league. Georgia's better. I mean, Auburn did beat A&M last year. Yes, no question. They jumped on A&M and then had to hold on now. I mean, don't go look at the second half of that game. A&M for a stretch of that second half, A&M destroyed Auburn, but Auburn built a lead and it was okay. But yeah, I just could make argument for different things. Road, like we just said, you're coming off a road game before A&M. Georgia, you get a week off. So is Georgia a better roster? Heck yeah. But 2 weeks to prepare at home, I don't know that situation is tougher than going to College Station after you just went to Norman. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you could just make arguments a bunch in there. But the interesting thing, and I pointed out on Twitter, 3 of your top 5 are in the first 5 weeks. And they're all on the road. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's a tough stretch to start the season. It's not an easy one. After that, though, it gets very favorable. I mean, if you can find a couple of wins out of that stretch, you don't have to go undefeated in that stretch. You really don't. And someone even asked the other night.
You're not.
No, I don't think they will.
Blake says A&M has a bye before Auburn. Is that true? If that's true, then it just, to me, then it strengthens. If Auburn goes at OU, come home, go back to College Station, and A&M is sitting at home the week before, then that is a really tough draw. I would definitely agree. Like, I don't think Georgia.
Yeah, so A&M plays at Notre Dame September 13th, and then they have a bye before Auburn.
Well, that even makes that more the case. I think Georgia plays. Look at Georgia real quick. Do they play Kentucky or somebody before Auburn?
Georgia. Let's see. Georgia plays Kentucky before Auburn and no bye.
So Auburn gets a bye, Georgia doesn't. That's probably more in line to make that A&M game a tough one. But yeah. Is there any way this Baylor game, we're thinking, like we talked about earlier, could Auburn win by 10 plus? Like, could Auburn's got the talent? Could they come in just absolutely juiced to like, this is our year to break through. Is there any way that could go the other way? Like, I'm always, yes, there is a way, but could Auburn go in there and lose this game by 17? Or is that like far fetched to you? Or is Baylor got some ability? Is there something about Baylor? Is there some ability there that you go, they could absolutely beat Auburn 31-14, 31-17? Or do we feel like Auburn's roster is at the point where that just really that would just be a very, very, very low percentage of something like that happening, barring a bunch of turnovers or whatever?
If you're asking me, is it more likely that Auburn loses by 17 or that they win by 17, I would go with win.
Yeah, 10 plus, like lose by 10 plus, win by 10 plus.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that Auburn would win by that margin
Yeah,
than to lose by that margin. I almost feel like it's a lot more likely, not just a little. I'm not overly impressed with Baylor's defense, and maybe Dave Aranda will prove me wrong on that, and he's certainly got the pedigree as a defensive coach, but I don't see a lot of depth, and a couple of guys they have starting, I just don't see them being able to handle what Auburn's got if Auburn is able to utilize it like they're supposed to, and that's a big if. I am impressed with Baylor's offense. I want to be clear on that. I think they can put some points on the board even against Auburn's defense, which we think is going to be pretty good. Sawyer Robertson's good. I think he's an NFL guy. Bryson Washington, the running back, definitely an NFL guy. They got 3 guys on their front. Omar Agbedion, Sidney Fugar, Ryan Langell, Colton Price. There's some name dropping for you. All those guys on their offensive line, Baylor, I know them in my head because they stand out to me. Those are good offensive linemen. So it's a weird one, man. I'm just ready to see it play out. I don't know. I don't know if I can even talk any more about it. I'm talked out.
We'll talk about it a bunch next week.
But
yeah, like that's where I kind of made a post about it. Like, could Auburn win by 10 plus? Do I have a little bit of the feeling that's possible? Yeah, but I also think that's a little bit of unfounded optimism on my. Like, I think Auburn's roster is good enough to do it, but they haven't done something like that in a while.
No,
so
exactly.
that would lead me to think this is just going to be a close game that Auburn needs to win. But until I see what kind of team this is, I probably won't pick them to win by 10 plus, but they've definitely got the talent. There's just something about watching them practice. There's something about this team feeling like they've got a breakthrough. Like this is the team that's going to get over the hump and get them back to enough with the 6-6 or 5-7 or 7, whatever it's been. Like, this team, I think, is like we're good, and I think they're going to be really, really juiced to go try to prove it. But I'm also not in Baylor's practices. Like, Baylor, I don't. Maybe they're thinking, hey, we got the team to win the Big 12. Like, we're going to make a run too. Maybe they're thinking they've got some something to prove and a chip on their shoulder. I think this Auburn team is going to have a chip on their shoulder too. A lot of it's going to depend on Jackson Arnold, man. First game on the road. Like, I feel like the way he comes out will be how Auburn go. If he can come out confident and make some plays early, like, and settled in, then huge, great news for Auburn. And you're going to you'll know in the first little bit. But if he comes about a little bit jittery, a little bit like, okay, all right, I'm new team, we're doing this, I'm on the road, then it could take a minute to get going. But I think he's going to be a large part in the team feeding off of him. Like, he's got to be the dude, confident, good or bad, whatever's going on. That team's got to look at him and go, we got 11 and we've got a chance with him.
Yeah, and I think I've studied a lot more Arnold in the past couple of weeks, watched another game film, broke that entire thing down on the corner. And something that I noticed in that game in particular, boy, he'll screw up. He'll throw it to the other team. He'll give it to the other team. Yeah, he will. I've seen him do it.
Mhm.
I hope he's cleaned some of that up. It can happen. It's obviously going to be a point of emphasis because Auburn didn't just turn a blind eye to that. They know that's part of the deal of getting him is they got to clean that stuff up. But he doesn't ever seem flustered by it. I will give him credit on that. He seems to be like, all right, well, we'll move on. We'll keep moving here. And I'm not saying that other quarterbacks haven't been that way. It's just that's a very important quality of a quarterback is to be able to shake it off and move on. It's not the easiest thing to do. And I think Arnold's got that. And it's going to be because they're going to hit some moments this season where he's going to throw it to the other team. It's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. And I think you've got a guy that, if he's got confidence in what Hugh Freeze is calling, and I think he will, if they have some chemistry, and I'm believing right now, I'm choosing to believe that they will, more so than the last duo. I think he'll be okay in that regard. I think they have enough to overcome some of those things now, as where they did not a year ago.
Yeah. And I'll make one quick comment, and then you can start tossing some questions in the last 10 or so minutes. And somebody just hit on what I was about to say. Haven't heard a lot about turnover. I've talked about it multiple times about turnovers in camp. Haven't seen many of them. We've watched a couple scrimmages. I've not seen a pick by Jackson Arnold. Last Friday, there wasn't a turnover in the scrimmage. I've mentioned it multiple times. And Freeze, I think, has even backed it up. Have not heard about a lot of turnovers, specifically with the first team offense and specifically with Jackson Arnold and interceptions. I haven't heard a lot of that. And I think that's obviously a good thing. And I think his mobility is just something where let's just watch how that sort of translates and what that looks like. But I think that's going to really help if he feels flushed in the pocket, if he feels like a receiver's not open. He's not going to hesitate and just running. Now, Peyton was mobile, but Peyton wanted to deliver the football. He wanted to go through his reads and deliver the football. Jackson will too, but I just think Jackson is very confident in his ability to run the football and is totally okay with that. And I do wonder a little bit about that actually helping Jackson in limiting turnovers, being like, if nothing's there, I'm totally fine running. I'm not going to force things. I'm not going to stand in here and try to make a fourth read. Like if it's not there, I'll just take off. And it'll be really interesting to see how that happens. I think his legs are going to have a huge part in Auburn winning at Baylor. Like I think he's the first game could still be some things you work out on offense, some kinks. I think you're going to see him, when in doubt, just run. And I think it's going to be a big part of Auburn potentially winning that game in Waco.
That's actually what Hugh Freeze was telling Peyton Thorne last year, towards the end of the year, like just find a way not get in trouble. Please just take off and run, even if you lose a yard or two. It would be a better play for us than throwing 4 picks like you did at Cal, right? I think that Arnold's got a healthy understanding of that. I think, right? And no, I mean, we haven't heard a lot about turnovers at all in fall camp, but that doesn't change my mind. If I'm being completely honest, it doesn't change anything for me based on what I've seen from film. I know he can. I know he's got a capability to turn it over. It's not exactly what everybody wants to hear, but are you just going to ignore it? We can't ignore it.
Yeah. You get in a game and juices get flowing, and you make a bad decision.
That doesn't mean it's going to be as detrimental as it was a year ago. I think the margin for error is larger than it was. It was so small a year ago. I think you've definitely widened that, and that's why turnovers don't scare me as bad as they used to. I know they're part of the game. They're going to happen. All quarterbacks throw them. All quarterbacks lose the ball. It's going to happen. How do you bounce back? What kind of cast do you have around you to make the plays after you do that? I think Auburn's in a much better place there, and I feel good about that. We'll hit a few questions before we get out of here, Justin. Matty Dubs, what percentage of snaps do you think Perry Thompson plays this season? Do you think the split between him and Fields is close? Basically, give us an update on that battle between those two.
I could see the split between him and Fields being somewhat close, but obviously both those guys are backups. So just Perry Thompson snaps compared to like the main guys, I mean, low. It's just this is going to be Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman, and Malcolm. And then Horatio. I mean, those three are going to carry it. And then Horatio and Perry right now I'd give the edge to Horatio. I still, the guy's played football. He's got good hands. I still think Horatio's a better receiver. Um, um, and I haven't heard anything in the last week that's like Perry is just, he's still ascending. Like he's missed a little bit of time. He's banged up a little bit. So I think he's kind of plateaued right there as being a backup guy. He might have his moments, but I'd still go. Fields is still like, to me, going to be a guy. Heck, Sam Turner might even be a guy before Perry, like in terms of like,
he could,
reliable receiver.
He could. I did notate in our practice the other day there were 2 drops that I saw from Horatio Fields, and
he did. I saw one drop. I saw a drop too.
Yeah, hit him. I thought they were catchable balls, both of them. Pretty good throws. We talked about it, Justin. I thought the red zone drill, because we've seen that twice now. The first time, a little messy from the quarterbacks from the execution standpoint. Now they come back and do it again 2 or 3 days later, and we go, okay, that looks sharper. It looked a little cleaner. Would you agree with that? Besides drops, I thought there were a few drops.
Yeah, I liked the competition I saw a week ago. I mean, I've seen guys make plays on both sides. That's the good thing about watching it. Yeah, I don't know. They got some good. I think with the talent they have at receiver, there'll be some good route combinations and stuff for when they get to about the 10, 15-yard line.
Oh yeah,
that'll really help them. It's not just toss it up to Cam. I mean, there'll be some
some
squirrel route type stuff with Singleton or Simmons. Like I put a video up where it's boom, inside, outside. I think there'll be some good stuff. Dragging across the back. Think about Arnold and his legs and his ability to escape a pocket, and then you've got Eric Singleton improvising, Cam Coleman improvising, and then Arnold scrambling. Like there's a lot of potential there. I mean, you could see that talent at receiver is also going to help when Arnold scrambles to make plays in broken situations.
And if you're wondering, back to Freeze throwing his visor, he was mad because the ball didn't come out. And I think in that drill, that's the very last thing that could ever happen. I think in that drill, Freeze would rather his quarterback throw an interception than hold on to the ball too long.
And you know what was lost in that video? It was Jackson Arnold's fault. There was a receiver wide open. Jackson Arnold would be the first one to go, I 100% should have thrown the ball. There was a dude that cut outside that absolutely had space. Like, not to revisit that, but it was just funny. There was like focused on him being mad, and you're like, did y'all watch? There's a dude, it was a yellow jersey, I think, but he should have thrown the ball. Like Arnold would be the first to tell you, yeah, I got to get rid of it. That dude had space. I should have thrown that ball. Like,
and it was obvious that the ball was coming out much faster in this next red zone drill. So they fixed it and said, at least in this drill, what we're trying to get you to understand is the receivers here are good enough to shake free from any of the DBs we face in that amount of time. You've got to get that timing down on this.
Yeah.
It's funny, if you actually turn up your volume and listen to the end of that clip, he says, just throw the touchdown. It's not that dang hard. Just throw a touchdown. And I thought that was funny. Kyle Sweat.
Yeah.
How healthy does Eric Singleton look?
We haven't watched him practice in a couple days. He was out there yesterday, but he's still I haven't watched him go full speed in a few practices, but Hugh Freeze said on Tiger Talk that if they needed to play, everybody would be available. So let's just say, given the fact that he's not going hard in practice, but he'd be available, let's call him 85% probably. I mean, now we're still a week plus from the game, so
he's just
no concerns, really.
He's just sore. It's a deep bone bruise. I don't think he's even got a brace on. It's just something it's soreness. If you've ever had one of those, it sucks. It doesn't sound bad, but it's horrible. I mean, it sticks with you forever. And of course, when you get your adrenaline going in a game, you don't feel it. So he'll be fine when you get to that, and it will heal pretty quick. The one with the brace on was Perry. Perry Thompson. He's got the brace, and I don't really know his deal, but he's going through everything.
Yeah.
So I think he's fine.
Blue jersey. He was going. We saw Kay and Lee with a yellow jersey this week.
Yeah.
But still week plus away. Like, so I think Auburn's was pretty healthy.
I will say Freeze doesn't seem to hold back on injuries. Like he'll tell you what's going on, and he didn't say anything. So
yeah.
Hayden Harris, how is the running back room looking when it comes to blitz pickup?
That's a harder one. I don't know. We don't
I
get to
haven't gotten
watch
really.
enough of that of those situations. We don't get to watch full on 11 on 11 getting after it, blitzing. Like even when we do watch some 11 on 11, the defense is they're not just blitzing like crazy because the offense is trying to get some stuff done too. So
Right.
I honestly haven't seen enough to even make a other than to say Damari's strong, Darrell's strong, Mabson's low to the ground. Like I think there's some I think they'll be okay, but I have no idea.
They do have an entire period dedicated to blitz that we do not get to see. They don't want us to see that, which I don't blame them. So we don't get to see that as much. I will say this: you could go back to Freeze's comments when he's talking about Xavier Atkins and Bryce Diaz being like basically kamikazes when it comes to blitzing. Yeah, like they're causing problems. So that would tell me that the running backs are struggling a little bit trying to pick that up because it's usually 1-on-1 with those two guys. But other than that, we don't really know much about that.
Once we got
Jonathan Lee, over under 500 yards of offense at Baylor.
Oh, under. I mean, now we got under.
Hammer
under,
the over, baby. Hammer it.
Goodness gracious, no.
No, I mean, I'm not doing that. I think it could go. How about 400? I think it could go over 400.
I haven't really looked at Baylor enough. I don't know where they were at defensively. Are people picking them because the offense is going to be?
I'll say this: if I were covering Baylor's football team, and I were trying to relay information to people like this, I would be. It would be hard to get you excited about their secondary, other than one guy, Devin Bobby. I think he's a baller. I think he could play for Auburn, but Caden Jenkins, like their boundary corner, whew, he has tendency to get beat.
I'm going to go over. I think that
over 500.
No, not 5-4. I think they tip over 4. If you ask me right now, I think Arnold goes for 260 ish. And I think running between the running backs and Arnold, I think they get to $140, 50 between everything rushing the football. And I think Arnold's in that 230 to 250 ish range. I think they're right at 4, maybe tip right over. If you ask me, doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think they can. I think they
so. If you're saying he's throwing for 250, you're saying Auburn's going to rush for some yards here.
Yeah, I think between Arnold running and then between the running backs, between what Arnold brings to the table and the running backs, 150 seems like you should be able to do that in most every game you play. Between what Arnold's going to do, scrambling, designed runs, running backs, you better be getting to me 150 yards rushing, certainly against everybody not named, I don't know, A&M, Georgia, Bama. Like those are going to be tougher. But in this one, yeah.
My worst fear now is that I've brought up the Caden Jenkins guy a bunch of times and that he has a pick six in this game. That's my worst fear. What was that last one, Zach? Over under for Jackson Arnold? Oh, we just talked about that. Okay. Sky Underwood, what is our rushing passing attempts versus what? So I guess the ratio, the run pass ratio.
I'm going to say Jackson throws the ball 27 times. And, of course, this depends on the defense to get off the field. That'll help your offensive play count. I'm going to say Jackson throws the ball 27 times, and I'm going to say they run the ball with everything, including Jackson. I'm going to say they run the ball 34 times.
Wow.
That puts you at 61 plays.
A higher run ratio than a pass ratio.
Well, because – Arnold scrambling as a run, design runs a run, the running back's running. Like I think it could creep up because of that. The quarterback sneak, reverse. Like every time you catch the ball and toss it to a jet sweep to Malcolm, run.
Okay. Does it? It may just be me, but these season opening games that are like good matchups, like Auburn Baylor. You know, there's always good week one matchups like that. It's like I don't know if it's the anticipation of getting there and the long wait. It makes those games feel like they go by so fast. Or do they actually go by fast and like there's less plays in these games because everybody's jittery and clock management's different and you're just trying to figure all that out. Like it feels like these games last 2 hours where the other games in the season last 2 hours and 45 minutes. Does that make sense? Maybe that's just a me thing. That may just be a me thing. Michael Gibson, will Eric Singleton have a better year this year than I think this is our last one? Keandre Lambert Smith did last year. Do you think that's possible? I do not.
I was looking up real quick. So KLS went for 981.
981 and 8 touchdowns, right?
8 touchdowns. Now he obviously had he had 981 wins. I think the Alabama game he had some yards late that helped that. But does Singleton go over that?
They were trying to get him over 1,000, no doubt.
Yeah, I would say just from a stat perspective, I would say that I would lean that he does not get to 981. He could have 8 touchdowns, but I would lean not 981 because Cam's going to be a target too, and you've got Malcolm sitting out there, and I think there will be some good options there. But the element about Singleton is his speed means that everything he could turn any short play, any catch, he could double the yardage. I mean, so it's like KLS caught a lot of deep balls, a lot of incredibly tough catches. Singleton may not have he probably will, but Singleton could catch a 5-yard play and turn it into 15, like in the 20 in the drop of hat. So it's very possible that he doesn't need a million targets to get to 981. I mean, I'm trying to look at KLS had 50. Singleton might not need 50 to get to 981 if he's turning on the afterburner. So he can top it. I just think though with Cam being even more a part of the plan, toss in a little bit of Malcolm, toss in some of the other guys, maybe doesn't quite get there. Where KLS was just Peyton's blanket, like boom, just toss it up. A few more options this year that probably I would say under.
What was it? So 50 catches for 981, pretty good average, right?
Yeah, 50 for 981, eight scores.
That's almost 20-yard average.
Well, he was definitely. There were quite a few deep balls mixed into that, some shots downfield that he just flat out made a play.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going. I think he'll be under what KLS did for the reasons you said. But if he does get up to that probably means good things for Auburn, if I had to guess. Anyway, so I think we'll end it there. I think that's all the questions we got. Good discussion. I'm tired of talking about the Baylor game, but we're going to have a long week ahead of talking about the Baylor game. So tune in.
Yeah.
Tune into we'll have another one of these shows. If you can't get enough, come join us. $1 gets you in right now for an annual. It rolls into an annual. And gets you in for football season, gets you in for signing day, all the big events. You will be part of the fam. So come join us.
Let's go. See ya. I think the cold just freeze.